The thunderous ovation that rolled through the arena the instant the eerie lantern glow flickered out signaled that chaos had reclaimed its throne. The Fiend had pried the Universal Championship from Braun Strowman's grasp and, in that suffocating instant, it felt as if every sliver of light in the WWE Universe had been eclipsed by a blanket of dreadful bliss. Yet the celebration barely had time to churn into the champion's manic grin before the unmistakable snarl of Roman Reigns ripped through the darkness like thunder cracking an endless night. Without warning, the big dog exploded onto the scene, hurling his entire body like a living missile, first pouncing on the Fiend with a spear that rattled the ring posts, then spinning to obliterate Strowman with a second spear that folded the monster of all monsters in half. "I made you," Reigns roared, brandishing a steel chair as if it were an extension of his own fury, slamming it so mercilessly against Strowman's back that the metal warped around the broad shoulders of the fallen giant. The Universal Champion, still staggered from the blind side, crawled in a haze, unaware that Reigns had already seized the landscape, reclaiming territory he declared had always belonged to him. He sneered at the Fiend, "You're just a freak in a mask. I'm the guy, I run this," before planting yet another emphatic blow that echoed like cannon fire and marked the true rebirth of the head of the table era. That seismic arrival felt as though it should have capped the night, yet SummerSlam's tradition of jaw-dropping returns has always operated on another plane of unpredictability. Moments after the ring crew could even begin to mend the canvas, the ominous toll of a gong silenced everything. The dead man materialized, eyes gleaming beneath the brim of his hat, and the temperature seemed to plummet. The Undertaker's presence cast a long, chilling shadow, punctuating the message that no champion, no beast, no saint or sinner, escapes the long arm of darkness forever. The Reaper was briefly satisfied, but the night was hardly finished with its surprises. In the same breath, Jey Uso sought vengeance for his brother. He hurled Solo Sikoa through the announce table with a cathartic crash, slid into the squared circle, flattened Reigns with a spear that felt like poetic justice, and soared for the USO splash that, for a split second, convinced every spectator that the tribal chief's reign had met its final reckoning, until Jimmy Uso emerged like a specter, wrenching the moment away and shattering the dream with a betrayal that stung the air like icy
rain.
Shock still hung in the rafters when the spotlight pivoted to the women's division, where Carmella's brazen self-assurance against Bianca Belair was abruptly drowned out by an eruption so loud it seemed to shear the roof clean off the stadium. "The man is back," roared through the PA system as Becky Lynch marched to the ring with an audacity only she could wear like armor. One raised eyebrow from Lynch, one nod from the EST, and an impromptu SmackDown Women's Championship bout was born. In an eye blink, a manhandle slam sealed the fastest of upsets, crowning Lynch and freezing Belair's own meteoric momentum in disbelieving disbelief. But elation mutated into astonishment yet again when Bayley, sidelined for over a year, strutted down the ramp grinning ear to ear. She wasn't alone. At her beck and call stood Dakota Kai, ensigned, unforeseen, and totally unshaken, and the NXT Women's Champion Io Sky, weaving together a new power trio that instantly raised the ceiling of the entire division. While fans scraped their jaws off the floor, the main event narrative roared back to life. Roman Reigns, fresh off defending his title against John Cena in a war of attrition, turned away from one legend only to glare into the unforgiving blue eyes of another. The Beast Incarnate's music detonated, and Brock Lesnar, grinning like a conquering Viking, stormed down the aisle with Paul Heyman quivering in disbelief. Lesnar's mere presence, the breadth of his shoulders and the menace of his stare, suffocated oxygen from the building as he and Reigns traded silent promises of carnage still to come. SummerSlam had already delivered enough shocks to fill an entire season, yet the conveyor belt of returns still churned. A parody voiceover announced Eva Marie's recuperation, only for Nikki Bella to appear moments later, surgically fused neck and all, surging back into battle alongside Natalya, and Alexa Bliss to notch a triumphant victory and prove that fear of limitations never cages the truly driven. The tempo then vaulted forward to the clash between Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa, a high-stakes duel that seemed destined to echo Cody's WrestleMania triumph, until the arena lighting subtly dimmed and the familiar primal cry of "Oh, oh, oh, ah" crashed like surf on stone. Roman Reigns, absent since the kingdom crumbled in April, descended again, but now with a new agenda, to remind Solo that there can be only one tribal chief. His spear obliterated Sikoa, and the stunned hush that followed revealed how decisively the Empire had reshuffled its deck. On that same charged canvas, Chavo Guerrero mocked Rey Mysterio's prior injuries, but the ultimate underdog, roaring back from the brink, executed a crisp 619 followed by a dazzling splash to secure redemption and where the glow of a hero granted new life. The list of monumental comebacks continued to grow. CM Punk basked in championship glory only to stare wide-eyed as The Undertaker resurfaced yet again, and its eternal flame refusing to sputter. The Big Red Machine didn't come alone either. Triple H, 9 months out of action and rebuilt like a cybernetic gladiator, marched into hostile territory to bury King Booker under a definitive pedigree, proving that the cerebral assassin's legacy is carved in titanium, not chalk. Even guest host Jon Stewart found himself violently introduced to ring torsitis, delivered courtesy of Anderson and Gallows, before Big E blasted back from injury, steamrolled the doctors, and rekindled the power of positivity while preserving the New Day's metallic grip on tag team gold. In a different timeline, the Nexus had terrorized the roster, but Team WWE unveiled Daniel Bryan as their secret weapon, unleashing the American Dragon to a roar so mighty the barricades trembled. Summer's past wove seamlessly into summer's present, culminating in the infamous Los Angeles finale where CM Punk, newly anointed undisputed champion, declined a handshake from Triple H only to be blindsided by Kevin Nash, whose jackknife powerbomb hammered open yet another chapter of corporate intrigue. There was still room for one more cinematic twist. While an arrogant outsider mocked Toronto by declaring loyalty to Los Angeles, the haunting whisper, "You think you know me," ignited a pyro storm. Edge, hometown hero, rating R icon, and master of TLC folklore, sprinted onto the stage to an electric ovation, spearing the brash interloper so ferociously that every fan's inner child rejoiced. Time after time, SummerSlam has served as the crucible where careers are reborn, alliances fracture, and legends find second winds. From the Fiend's brief dominion to Roman Reigns' steel-clad reminder of his undisputed supremacy, from Becky Lynch snatching gold in record time to Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky forming a rebellion in waiting, from Brock Lesnar's savage grin to The Undertaker's chilling resurrection, from Triple H's titanium comeback to Big E's explosive salvation of Jon Stewart, from Daniel Bryan's unlikely rescue mission to Kevin Nash.